Dzień dobry YouTube, witamy to another episode of Behind the Scenes of Filming ABC's television series The Middle, Season 9, filming at Warner Brothers Ranch. My dear friends, it is so wonderful to be back in a different setting as to what we've been used to for the past few months. I'm very happy to be able to be here with you all as we get to continue down nostalgia lane, and I get to share with you all my memories and my hand-taken, never before seen by anyone else because I was the only one in possession of them, pictures and videos that my mom and I took of the final season of the TV show The Middle, which I played the youngest child in the Heck family, Brick Heck, for 10 years. This is such a wonderful time. I'm so happy to kind of be in the relaxation seat, in the projector control seat, and we all get to hang out together as one big internet family, and I get to reminisce with you all, and you all get to share your favorite memories of watching the show with me down in the comment section. I will caveat this real quick. I do want to apologize for my wardrobe. I am needing to dress in my hot weather clothes because summer is here and with a vengeance in Southern California. The other day it was 116 degrees and the triple digits have just come and sat down on the very valuable lawn chair. I'm saying lawn chair because of the reference to the show. Doesn't matter if the seams of the chair are breaking under its massive weight, it's here to stay. That's very disappointing, so I'm trying to stay cool. Although, to spare your eyes, I did groom myself last night. I did trim the old armpit hair. See that? Makes me aerodynamic when I fight. Name that movie. I'm gonna chill out now with a refreshing cold Zevia lemon lime flavor. This actually tastes exactly like Sprite. Actually, no, it doesn't taste like Sprite. It tastes like Squirt. If you know, you know. Yes. Cheers to you all. Na zdrowie. Yep. That's very tasty. On that note, my dear friends, let's go ahead. We're gonna jump on into the show and tell. If this is your first time tuning into a behind the scenes episode, this is an awesome episode where, like all my videos really, grab a snack, grab a cup of coffee, grab a beverage of your choice, perhaps some lemonade or an Arnold Palmer, which is iced tea and lemonade, I think. Sit back, relax, and just let me share with you these awesome pictures and these awesome memories, and I'll be able to talk about stuff. So where we left off last time was actually a video clip that was taken near the end of the season of Mom showing how they were taking apart the Orson High School set on stage 32 of Warner Brothers Ranch. Now we're jumping back in time a little bit earlier on in the season, just a little bit. We're gonna be taking a look here at some other shots, and really this is the set life portion, and so there's gonna be lots of different little nuances and things that we're gonna be able to experience together. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And boom, punching right into it, we're taking a look here at this awesome green screen setting, and I believe this was actually filmed on stage 31. There came a point in time where really we were consolidating a lot of stuff and we were doing a lot of green screen work on stage 31, and if you've been following this series, which I highly recommend you go back and watch the other episodes of this series thus far, beginning at my Warner Brothers Ranch studio tour, because I explain a lot of details and nuances in each of those videos, and I want you all to be able to be caught up on it and up to speed. So we're gonna just be picking up right where we left off there. The Heck House set was on, the interior of the Heck House was on stage 31 the whole way through the show on Warner Brothers Ranch. It's a big soundstage, and so there's different quadrants and sections that you can work on and look at. And so here's a prime example of utilizing that space, and they have it as a green screen section, and they literally had a big old green screen that they put around in front of the crafty table, actually. So behind that green screen would be people like me getting snacks in between shots and takes of the scene. But this is Axel and Hutch's RV, and this was a day when I believe Brick was driving the RV. This may have had relation to the smacking the cow episode, potentially. I can't remember. I don't remember if there were other scenes where Brick was in the RV with Axel and Hutch. I know the Partey episode was one of them. I believe this is a rehearsal, and so we have Charlie, who's actually in the RV, and I'm sure I'm already in it as well. And then we have the script supervisor, Robin, on that big Apple box listening in on a rehearsal. And then right in the center we have Roger, who is a camera loader, and he's also one of the people who would do the clacker, a camera mark clack, and he would mark the choreography, is what you would call it. So he would lay down the T marks and the dots for the marks for each of the different actors. And then we have John, who's our A camera operator, who's also listening in on this rehearsal. So that's very cool. Little exterior to the interior. And of course, too, up above you can see all the different equipment for lighting and filters and rigging, and therein in our beautiful Stage 31 soundstage. And this next picture, this is an obvious thing, but I'm remembering it now. I'm off the cuff as I'm remembering these things with you all. But this next picture here, there were two different RVs. You have the exterior RV, which is the RV that you would see like on Blondie Street, which we saw in the last episode, that was in front of the Heck House. But then you have the RV that you film in, and it has a little bit more space. They're able to take the walls down from it, and yet have the interior still be intact and in place. That's what we're seeing here. This is the other angle of that same rehearsal, where this is a dolly pad that they've rigged up to be level with the RV, so they can stick a camera on it and get that back view of the scene. We have Blake, who is our director of photography. He's in the RV, and I believe he's next to Colleen, who was one of our first ADs that would trade off with Ken Wada, who was our other first AD. And then we have Brett, who is our B camera operator, who is over here at the end of the dolly pad, and you can see fragments of that green screen up above it there in the back. So here is a glimpse inside of my dressing room, and I believe based on my shirt that I have, this is probably about October when this is taking place. I have a Halloween themed shirt, not the movie, just the holiday. This is my dressing room. They have me up in the Spudsy Malone's uniform. This was when Britt got a job working with Sue at Spudsy Malone's. And so here's me in the Spudsy Malone's uniform. I think I had like an undershirt underneath this, and then it was the uniform top, and then the pants. And then of course I always love to wear my Merrill boots. I need that for my feet, and that was a character trait that they had Brick have, and so he was able to just wear his Merrill boots the whole way through the show, which I'm really happy about. But there's my personal clothing up there, and actually that chair that you see on the left, I believe there's going to be more pictures about this later on, but that is where I had my makeup done every morning, or every start of my day. Sometimes my day would start at 2 in the afternoon and go till 2 in the morning. That was where I would have my makeup done every day. Pretty much for the majority of the show. The makeup trailer had very rickety stairs to get up and down from, and it was literally to the point for me personally I had to crawl or scoot up and down those stairs. And so production was finally, and makeup, or our base camp PA, production assistant, and makeup, they were both like, do you want to just have your makeup done in your room? And I was like, yes please, if you're okay with that. And they're like, absolutely, it's fine. So they were really sweet and gracious, and they would just come to me. My trailer was much easier to access for myself. For my unathletic self, I should say. And then actually, for that same episode here, we're looking at how they made up the Orson Pioneer Gala Mall. And that's really cool because they literally just sectioned it off and built a food court inside, I believe it was Stage 32, which is where they used to have the high school. And so that was really cool to be able to have them build that out and have that be a location that could be filmed at and have some fun with. So here's some fake shrubbery and of course decorations and whatnot for the Orson Pioneer Mall. Yes, here's that scene. So here you can see they built it out. Wait a minute! Hold on. See that backing there? That's Blondie Street backing. That's Heck House backing. And that's Sue's room. In the back right. Hopefully Rachel can stick an arrow right there and you guys can see. They built this on Stage 31. So where the green screen area is, they also doubled as the Orson Pioneer Mall. How cool is that? So of course here we have the actor who played the manager for Spudsy Malone's, and then Ken Wada, who's the other first AD behind us, and he's trying to get everybody started and get them into the set, prepping for a rehearsal here. And then, of course, there's me, and then we have a bunch of crew meandering about in the background. So that's really awesome. I forgot just how capable we were at stuffing things into different locations. That's so awesome. Okay, so here's a great shot of the Spudsy Malone's set. We're in the middle of gearing up for rehearsal. You can see little me with my little hat, see? The rat-a-tat cheesy, the cheese dispenser, and the Spud for Everyone signs. All of this had to be hand designed, you guys, by set deck and by props. Like, really think about that. This is a world that was built by people for the show to make it seem like an actual world for all of you to see and witness. How amazing is that? That always gets me every time. We have our director here, Phil Trail, who is standing at the counter with his script, getting himself ready to direct said scene, and of course other crew members and background actors that are on standby getting ready for this rehearsal. Now we're actually doing the rehearsal, and there's me, Charlie, and Eden. I'm looking down at my lines. You can see we have our sides and evidence. I think if I remember this episode correctly, tell me in the comment section below, but I think Axel tries to get this job, but he doesn't try very hard and he immediately leaves, and it ends up being a job that's just Brick and Sue working, which is really cool. So that's another angle of this set, and you get to see a live rehearsal taking place. And then of course here, this is these are those scene markers, the clackers, and we have, of course, as I mentioned, Phil Trail, he's in the director's spot. Blake Evans is the director of photography. Oh, looky here, this tells you what episode number it is. Yeah, this is episode 907, so this is our 7th episode of season 9, and that's how we would do the numerics of it. So season 1 was 10 something, 2 is 20, 3 is 30, on and on. So season 9, episode 9, season 9, 07, episode 7 of the middle. So that's a cool thing. You get to see the WB logo on these, which I think is really cool. And then of course this is just a bunch of camera equipment. You can see the different tape colors that would be for the different actors for different colorations. I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll bring it up again. For the entirety of the show, Patty was always orange, Charlie was always lime green, Eden was always pink, I was always like a teal cyan blue color, and then Neil is the only one who would change. I think he started as red, and Patty didn't like it because it looked too much like orange, so they switched him to white. That was how the colorations were. And then guest actors would be like purple or yellow, things like that. So yeah, very, very cool. Here, yes, this is a great shot of the green screen getup. So this is how we had the green screen all tricked out and worked out. I believe this is stage 31. So behind this green screen on the right would be Crafty. That's where with all the food and the snacks would be. But then this is how they would rig things up. And then the giant elephant doors that you see here, this would be how they would actually drive in the vehicles. That would be the setting for the green screen. So in driving scenes, they would park the vehicles here in this green screen section through the elephant doors, and then they would be able to do everything that they needed to do for a particular scene, and then they would film it and place the cameras around it and all that other stuff. Bicycles were our big thing on this set. That was a great mode of transportation for getting around the Warner Bros. Ranch lot, because we weren't like the main lot and had a bunch of vehicles and stuff kind of clogging up everything, and we need to be worried about getting hit by, so everybody was able to use their bicycles on set. And actually, after our 100th episode, the gift that the production team, so the writers and the producers, gave to all of us cast and crew was they gave us middle-themed Schwinn bicycles, which I thought was really, really, really neat. Truly a very beautiful time, and everybody got to be proud and have their bikes and use them from that point on. That was season 5. So they got to use them from that point on, from season 5 on, through the rest of the show. Everybody had their bikes, which was really cool. And of course, again, as always, you can see all the different equipment strewn about, the different things in the rafters, the lights, the rigging equipment, the filters, removing of ceilings and things like that. You can see all the various details of set life here. Now, here's another segment. Phil Trail's still directing. He directed a huge amount of the episodes of season 9 and many of the later seasons. He and Lee Shallot Shamel were kind of the directors that would go back and forth most often, trading off every other week. But here's another rehearsal. This is the episode, I believe, where they run out of gas. I don't know why they were on a road trip, and they have to stop off at a gas station where there's a guy who he's talking about how the boss has a bunch of different cameras all around, and the fish behind him was one of them. That's this episode, I believe, and y'all can correct me in the comment section. But here we are. I'm buried behind the kids over here on the left by the heck wagon, and of course we have the crew all around us, and we're in the middle of the rehearsal talking about everything of the scene. So that's really cool. And this gas station was actually the old location for Ellert Motors. When Frankie was still working at Ellert Motors, this was the building that they used. Very cool point there. They had a multi-use building. Okay, so now we need to speak on one of the most valuable, everybody on the set is incredibly valuable and in a unique way, but a very valuable team of people that don't get credit the way that they should. And you guys know that I feel that way about the majority of the people that go into filmmaking. It takes a true and genuine village to be able to make production happen. Lots of different aspects of the company, lots of different work and jobs that need to be done by very specific people who possess the specific skill sets and talents to do those things. And so I want to give a huge shout out here because this is our second team. Second team is a group of people. They serve the purpose of when the actors are not needed for a scene, but they need to block the scene, set up the cameras for the scene, rig the lighting for the scene. Second team are the body doubles who are there to literally stand around and repeatedly go through the choreography of the actual actors, so that way the director of photography, the camera operators, the lighting people can rig and set up the shots that are needed around that sequence. We have had a very dedicated group of people that were amazing through the entirety of the show. A couple of different people did change out as, like, I got older and got slightly taller, and as different people had different needs in life. But these are our second team, amazing people. You'll note our gent here in the back, who you can tell he's the second team for Neil because he's the tallest, but you can see down here on his shoes that he is the tallest because he actually had shoes made that have these giant lifters on them, so that way he could match Neil's height, and then that way, the height and the rigging of everything would be correct for setting up the camera shots in a scene. And I think it's really amazing, just the magic of Hollywood that goes into perfectly establishing and setting up a camera angle, a shot, movements with a camera, like when it's on a dolly or it's a Steadicam operator or whatever it might be. And it's such an amazing time. But my double for pretty much the entirety of the end of the show was an absolute sweet woman named Poppy. She was probably the nicest person on set. She's just such an absolute sweetheart to everybody. There was never anything bad you could say about Poppy because she was just such a sweetheart and so incredibly kind, very gentle, very timid, very meek, and such an amazing person to be able to work with. Very, very, very kind. And I'm so happy I got the chance to know all of these people in every department, in every aspect of the show. And so, huge shout out to the amazing people of Second Team. They literally were the epitome of hurry up and wait as far as a job to work, and yet they did it with a smile on their face, with a joy in their hearts, and they would pass off information that needed to go to us actors like that. You know what I mean? It was just awesome. Absolutely amazing. Here they are in action, sitting in front of the Hex Station Wagon after our rehearsal with all of us actors performing in, and now the crew is kind of in work mode around them, getting things ready and rigged up for them to be able to set up the scene, set up the cameras, set up the lighting, and be able to get everything situated for the scene to actually be shot and take place. And then here's me with Poppy. As you can see, perfect height match, absolute sweetheart of a woman, and I'm so grateful that I got to work with her all these many years. Such a wonderful time. As I mentioned, hurry up and wait. This is what they would do the rest of their time. They literally just had to sit, huddle together, entertain themselves, and wait to be called into action. So while we were filming, they were chilling. While we were chilling and they were working to set up a shot, that's when they would be active, doing their work of needing to stand around while everything else happened around them. Awesome bunch of people. And again, this is the reality of set life. And the fact that for a lot of different departments, there is a lot of hurry up and wait. Hit it hard and you have to meet a deadline, or you have to be on call and ready to go, like that. And then all of a sudden there's a lot of, okay, I did my job, now I have to wait to do my job again. I'll just chill. Now, we come to one of the biggest accomplishments and the biggest achievements that we were able to experience here on the show. The Middle is one of the very few sitcoms in Warner Brothers television history that has ever been able to meet and surpass 200 episodes. It was a rarity to get past 100 episodes. Even more of a rarity to get past 200 episodes. And we were blessed with that honor of being able to meet and surpass 200 episodes. And I am so incredibly grateful for it. I can't remember what numeric number within the season is what made us get to 200 episodes. The show went 215 episodes, and we did 22 episodes this year. No, we did 24 episodes this year. So if I subtract that and I math, episode 9, I believe, was the episode. Rachel, correct my math. Whatever. We met 200 episodes in the middle of the season, and I am so grateful because Warner Brothers and ABC, they went all out in being able to celebrate with all of us, the cast, the writers, the producers, and the crew, with being able to celebrate 200 episodes on the show. And we ate a lot of cake this year. We ate a lot of cake and got to enjoy a lot of celebrations, all of us together. This specific day that you're seeing here, where it says Happy 200 Episodes, ABC brought out a bunch of publicity and news outlets to our set to be able to interview with all of us and hang out and have fun. And somebody, I really don't know who, but somehow they ordered a 200 episode The Middle cake. And of course it has the Orson cow on top. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful time. Such a great way of like interrupting ourselves as we're working to be able to celebrate and hang out and have fun. So you can see Patty, Charlie, and Eden behind the cow hanging out, and we're there with this working celebration that we're having. Here's me taking a really, really, really bad selfie because I'm really not into selfies, especially at this point in time in my life. I was 19 at this time. I was not super good on selfies, so here's me taking a really awkward selfie with Charlie and Eden. But I was there, you know. Memories. I'm glad I did. I'd rather have an awkward selfie than no selfie at all. And then here we go after the celebration, or the working part of the celebration, and now we actually get to cut into the cake. All of the crew, we all get to come together and cut into it. But here's another beautiful like moonlit angle of our Orson cow cake, which is super fun. Huge accomplishment, you guys. What an absolute beautiful time. And here we have they incorporated 200 as the 200 anniversary of the town of Orson in the show, and so that was a perfect backdrop for all of us to be able to take a big family photo together of all of us, the actors, the crew, the writers, the director, being able to come together and have fun. And here's this little video that mom recorded of all of us together taking this picture, which is so incredible. What a beautiful time. Everybody getting together, and there's Casey Burke's mom taking photos as well, so all the moms were in action. And then we have the official photographer up on the ladder taking the picture of everyone, and they're beckoning more people to come in, but it's just funny how that all worked out. Mom says, oh no, they're still waiting on more. Such a good time. Most livable city. And then here's Mom's version of that photo, which you can see here. Everybody all lined up, and dare say very proud of what we've accomplished together as a big set family. And then of course this next photo was the very same day. I got to take a picture with one of my favorite people that I've ever had the pleasure and privilege of being able to work with on this show specifically. The one and only Brian Doyle Murray. I have been a fan of his work for a very long time, of course, with his animation and cartoon work with, you know, The Flying Dutchman on SpongeBob and Captain Knuckles on Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack and all the many others. Brian is one of the nicest people that I got to hang out with on the show. I love being able to hang out with Brian. He was so incredibly nice. He loved dogs, and that was something that we got to talk about with each other all the time, is our love of mutual love of animals, and of course just more realistic stuff, like everything that was going on in the world at that time, and you know, just really being good work buddies and being able to hang out and have fun with each other. I'm so disappointed because we really only got to work with each other. I think maybe I can count on one hand the number of times we actually had scenes together. I really wish that Brick and Mr. Ellert could do more together. I think that would have been a really fun dynamic. It would have been for both of us, being able to meet with them both and hang out with them. But I am going to take the time because I love sharing my stories with you guys. I have had the pleasure of being able to meet a lot of different and very amazing actors and actresses that are a part of entertainment history in my time in the industry. Brian is absolutely, without a doubt, one of them, and I am so grateful that I've been able to meet and work with him. But there was a day that I went to a recording studio called LA Center Studio, and I've done a lot of work at LA Center Studio. They're contracted with Disney and a lot of other people, a lot of other studios and production companies. That's where I got to film Fish Hooks very often, is being able to go there and work with everybody there at Fish Hooks. And I've done several other projects and ADR projects and a bunch of other work at LA Center Studios, and they're a great bunch of people there. And I've had the pleasure of being able to meet a lot of different really cool, actors and actresses at that recording studio. And here's the story of one of them. For the longest time, because LA Center Studio has a relatively small parking lot, they had a valet. And so what ends up happening is, to make things easier for me and my mom, valet would always stop Mom and I right at the beginning of the parking lot. Hey, don't you worry about it. You just grab your stuff and head in. I'll handle your car for you. So I got out, and I was walking over, and we had another family member with us at this time, extended family, whom we were like, hey, this is what Atticus does for work. It was actually a family friend. And me and the family friend, we got out, and we stood on the sidewalk right in front of the entrance to the studio, and Mom had to get her bag and her things. She and the family friend were just going to hang out in the studio in the air conditioning while I went into work for whatever project it was at the time. It might have been fish hooks, but I'm not sure. What ends up happening is there's this really cool, very nice guy who's leaving the studio, and he's in a Hawaiian shirt and jeans, and he walks up to me and he's like, oh, hey, I know you. You work with my brother. And I go, oh, hey, I do. What's your brother's name? And he goes, oh, Brian. And I go, oh, Brian, that's fantastic. And in my mind, I'm seeing this guy, and I'm going, gosh, you seem really familiar to me, yet at the same time you don't. This is so weird. I was going, who do we have that we work with that's named Brian? Total brain fart moment, right? So I shake this guy's hand, super incredibly nice guy. And I'm like, wow, you're super cool. He totally was uplifting me. Love the show. Love your character especially. You're awesome. And Brian has nothing but good things to say about all of you whenever he gets to work on the show. But about you specifically. And I go, that is so incredibly nice. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you so much. Shook his hand again. He's like, hey, no problem. You take it easy. Have a great day. Thanks, man. You too. So we part company. And then I turn to the family friend, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, I'm trying to think about whom we have that's named Brian on the set. And I say this to him, and I look at him and I go, doesn't he seem familiar? And he goes, yeah, he does, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Who do we have that works for us that's named Brian? Brian Doyle Murray. That's his brother, Bill. Dude, we just met Bill Murray! And I literally had a moment like Woody Harrelson's character in Zombieland about meeting Bill Murray. But it was totally a brain fart, absolute delayed reaction. He doesn't look the way that he looks on his movies in real life. He just looks like a real guy. It was so incredibly cool. So this hand has shook Bill Murray's hand, and I've never watched it since. Continuing on with our celebrations on this same day, you can see everybody. They're hanging out, eating cake, having a great time at Crafty. Awesome time. Awesome experience. A beautiful shot of just everybody hanging out and having fun together. A little candid moment during a work day. They didn't just have cake either. They had picturesque the middle cookies, sugar cookies, and champagne. I did not partake in that. I had apple cider was what was in my glass when we were doing our working part of our toast inside the Heck House, which I think is so cool. And then here's everybody just chilling out after the fact, eating their cake, eating their cookies, hanging out. I can remember everybody from left to right of this production. I see Youngin and Gunny, who are grips, over here on the far left side. That's a transpo guy in the white shirt to our front. Or was he an electric guy? No, he might have been an electric guy. And then we have Dave Loden, who is the key grip, the big guy in the buttoned-up shirt next to the light. We have a camera assistant behind him, and we've got more grips over here on the right, all the way up to the ladder over here. And then this is our locations guy, the shocked Filipino here in the front, our set PA Jeff behind him, and Maricela, our crafty person, next to him. Amazing people that I got to grow up with. And then we got to get all super fancy, and we had the middle 200 episode party. It was at the end of the work week of filming the 200 episodes. It was on a Saturday, and we got to go to a beautiful location, which is shocking to say, in Los Angeles. The funny thing is, you guys, is most of the nice places that you go to in Los Angeles on the exterior genuinely look like crap, and you would never be able to tell what they were on the inside, and that's how it goes for safety reasons. And so this was a situation where we were in this little bar venue place that got all decked out to the nines. On the outside, you'd never be able to tell what it was. And here we are, all of us together. Me, Charlie Eden, Neil, Patty, the writers of the show. And then on the far left, that is Peter Roth, who is the president of he was at the time, the president of Warner Brothers Television. And my mom actually met him on the very first job that I ever worked. It was a CBS show called The Class, and that was actually my very first audition that I had ever done. I did the audition and I booked it. My very first scene partner was Jason Ritter. My very first director was James Burrows. I sometimes have problems articulating this, but this is how my mom would say it. James was so impressed by Atticus that he invited Peter Roth to come view the filming of the episode. It was a live audience filming, and my mom got to meet Peter Roth. She had no idea who he was. There was this man with an entourage of people, you know, all dressed up, and this man walked up to my mom at the monitor while my scene was being filmed. She had heard one of them say, "That's his mom." And Mr. Roth, he walks up to my mom, and they're looking at the monitor, and he goes, "Is that your son?" And she goes, "Yes, it is." And I think he introduced himself to her, and she was kind of in this position because this was my first job ever on this particular show called The Class, where she was, in her mind, she's kind of like, "Shh, I'm watching my boy," you know. She's all excited about it. But then he stopped and he goes, "He's quite good." And she's like, "Oh, thank you." And that was that. And he walked away, and the studio teacher comes sprinting up to my mom. And she was like, "Do you have any idea who you were just talking to?" And Mom's like, "No, what did I say?" And she goes, "That's the president of Warner Brothers Television." And my mom absolutely freaked out. What did I say? Did I do anything wrong? What happened? You know. But she didn't do anything wrong. She was perfectly cordial. And Peter Roth was nothing but friendly and immensely kind to me from that project on, for the entire time that we worked with each other on the show. He was such an amazing, amazing man to work for. Incredibly, incredibly kind, knew his stuff, loved what he was doing. He was so gracious and attentive and kind to all of us. It was such a wonderful time. Such a wonderful time. So he got to hang out with us. He attended this party with us. He was somewhat of a pseudo-host for this. But we were walking our brown carpet, doing a bunch of publicity and taking photos and all that other stuff. Here we have yet another the middle 200 episode cake that we got to have at this party with the cow, and I thought that was really cool. Here's me all swanky and dressed up, chilling on our brown carpet, doing publicity photos and whatnot. Here's me with Casey, me and Casey Burke hanging out. All the actors got to come to the 200 party, all the pertinent and main actors, I should say, as well as the crew. We all got to come and hang out with each other. This was a great shot that Mom snagged of Casey and I. And then there's me doing interviews and stuff like that on the brown carpet and having a good time. This woman, I think, was particularly nice. I believe this woman is a Christ follower, and I did an interview with her on a show that she had later on Pure Talk. So that was very cool. And now here we are. This is after all the hoopla and the interviews and things like that. And this is where Peter Roth got up and said a few words about us, about the show. And we got to all celebrate together, which was a very fun time. Eating a lot of good food and hanging out. And then Patty got up there as well, and she said a few words also. Here I am in my seat, and this is actually the director of the second pilot. So for those of you who've seen the other episodes of this series, you know that there was an original pilot that had a completely different cast besides myself. And that got filmed, it didn't get picked up, but Warner Brothers and ABC hung on to the concept of the show, and a couple years later they got another chance, but they changed out the director and all the other cast besides myself. This woman's name is Julie Ann Robinson, and she did the second pilot. She did an amazing job at storyboarding, beatboarding, and pitching this show with the creators of the show, the writers, to Warner Brothers and to ABC, and I really truly believe that she was instrumental in getting the show picked up when we got our second chance. And then the only other episode I believe that she did was our 100th episode. Beyond that, I don't think she filmed any other episodes with us on the show. That does not negate the fact that she was instrumental in making the show possible. She's such a sweetheart. She's from the United Kingdom, and we were able to catch up at this party and hang out and have a very good time. So that was really cool to be able to hang out with her and meet with her again. And then of course here's me just with various crew members hanging out, having fun, laughing and having a good time, being able to be cordial and chill, and you get to see the niceness of the venue. Lots of smiles, lots of good time. There's me with my guy Chris Naylor, who he was a PA on our show for the longest time, a very dear friend of mine. He actually left us in season 8 to go and do stuntman work, which is very cool, and that's something that he's very heavily into now. He's done a lot of different work. Very proud of him. Awesome stuff. My dear friends, that is going to conclude it for this episode of the behind the scenes of filming season 9 of The Middle. Don't you worry, there are many more episodes still coming out. A lot more stories to share, a lot more fun times to be had with all of you to continue this series of being able to share my stories and hear all the insight from you all. Again, please take to the comment section. Please be sure to share your thoughts. Tell me your favorite episode of the show. What are some of the things that you saw in today's episode that you particularly like? What are some questions that maybe you have about behind the scenes filming? Some of your favorite guest stars that you saw come onto the show? Anything and everything that you can think of, comment about it down below. Also, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and share this video on all of your social media. This is a preservation of television history that I am doing. No one is able to have access to these photos or videos except myself, because I'm the one who took them, and I never put them anywhere until now. So I really want to be able to have amazing people like you be able to, who are fans of the show, fans of television history, fans of filmmaking, whatever it might be. I want them to be able to see this as we continue to expand the Internet Museum of the Middle. So please be sure to share this on all of your social media. As you do all of the things that I just mentioned, it helps the YouTube algorithm pick up on this and get it put in front of people so that way they can see it, experience it, and enjoy it as well, and we can all grow together as a community. Also, my dear friends, there's going to be a couple links down in the description box below. The link to my Twitch channel, which if you want to have some good Christ-centered fellowship centered around gaming, definitely click that link and come join us on Twitch. I go live 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Also, the link to my Cameo page will be down in the description box below. If you or your loved one wants a personalized video shout out from me for whatever the reason might be, please be sure to click that link and book me on Cameo. It would be my pleasure to take part in all of your celebrations. My friends, I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Do widzenia, cool people.
I just want a great life, something where I feel like I just didn't waste time, something I look back and say that was a great time, cause man I just hate when the years pass by the wayside.